Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Numerics with Nadia. In today's lesson, we're going to do an introduction to surface area. So this will mostly apply to any of you guys who are in middle school or maybe the beginning of high school, depending on what level math you're taking. But our learning objectives for today are, first off, we're going to define what surface area is. Then we'll get into understanding the real world applications of surface area. How do we use it? Where would we use it? And then our third and final part of today's lesson is practice. Like always, we're going to learn how to calculate the surface area of simple 3D shapes. And the three we're going to cover in today's lesson are cubes, rectangular prisms, and cylinders. And now that we've gone over our learning objectives and our lesson plan for today, let's get into our first part of today's lesson, where we want to understand what surface area is. So to start off, the definition of surface area is that surface area is the total area of all the outer surfaces of a 3D shape. So a good example here and how to envision this is, imagine you're wrapping a gift, right? The surface area is the total amount of wrapping paper you would need to cover all of the surfaces of whatever shape gift you are wrapping. So now that we know what surface area is and an example of it, other reasons why surface area is important is because of its real world uses. And surface area can be used to design packaging for products. It can be used for painting walls or constructing buildings, and any other design of objects like water tanks or sculptures. Surface area actually comes in handy a lot. So this is a very life applicable topic that you guys will see further in your careers possibly, or just in life in general. So definitely an important one to know. And now that we've gone over why it's important, let's get into the formulas for the three common shapes we're going to go over. So the first shape we'll look at is our cube. And the surface area of a cube is just 6 times whatever side length you have in your shape squared. So in this case, it's 6x squared. Sometimes in other formulas, you might see it listed as 6s squared, right? Side squared. But our formula for surface area of a cube is actually pretty simple. It's just 6x squared. Now for the surface area of a rectangular prism, we have that formula written out as well. The surface area of a rectangular prism is 2 times LW, length times width, plus 2 times LH, length times height, plus 2 times WH, which is width times height. So basically, we're going to have our length, width, and our height, and we're going to be multiplying different variations of it times 2. So 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. That is our formula for surface area of a rectangular prism. And last but not least, our surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r, and then that whole thing times the sum of whatever your height is plus your radius. So 2 pi, 2 is just a number, pi is a number you can click on your calculator, or we can approximate to 3.14. R for cylinders is our radius, and H is our height. So all of those components make up the formula of the surface area of a cylinder. And again, the surface area of a cylinder is just 2 pi r times the sum of H plus R. So definitely feel free to write these formulas into your notebooks. They're going to be really, really important. If you guys want a video on how to derive these formulas, please let me know. But for the purposes of this video, now that we've gone over all the formulas for our 3 shapes, let's get into some practice questions, finding the surface area of cubes, rectangular prisms, and cylinders. So the directions for our practice section say to just calculate the surface area of the shapes below. So the first shape that we have, if we look, it looks like a gift box, right? Kind of similar to that first example I referred to you guys at when we were going over the definition of surface area. And in this one, our shape of our box is a rectangular prism. So we'll be using our surface area of a rectangular prism equation. The surface area of a rectangular prism is 2 times length times width plus length times height plus width times height. So This looks a little bit different than that initial formula that I showed you guys. This one is a little bit easier to apply, so that's what I'm going to be using for our practice problems. But feel free to solve it alongside with me using the other formula. You will always get the exact same answer. So now that we've written out our formula, we have three variables, right? We have length, width, and height. Our length for this question is going to be 2 centimeters. That's how long the box is. Our width for this question is 5 centimeters, and our height is 20 centimeters. So now that we've written everything out, we'll just plug in those variables into our formula. So we'll have 2 times 2 times 5 plus 2 times 20 plus 5 times 20. And in order to solve this, we'll start with what's inside our parentheses first, and we'll do the multiplication part. So 2 times 5 gives me 10, 2 times 20 gives me 40, and 5 times 20 gives me 100. So 2 times 10 plus 40 plus 100 gives me 150. 2 times 150 gives me 300. So the surface area of this gift box will be 300 centimeters squared because the units for surface area are always going to be squared. And that wraps up our first practice question for today. Now we'll get on to our second one. Our second one, as you guys can see, all of our side lengths are the same. I know the diagram doesn't necessarily look to scale, but this is a cube. All of our side lengths are the same. Surface area of a cube is 6x squared, and our side length here is 15. So we would be plugging in that 15, so it'd be 6 times 15 squared. I'm doing 15 squared on the side for you guys. 15 squared is just 15 times 15, and 15 times 15 gives us 225. So then our next step would be 6 times 225. I will do that again on the side for you guys here. 6 times 225 will give me an answer of 1,350. So the surface area of this cube would be 1,350 feet squared because, like I said already, the units for surface area are always units squared. So that is our example of cubes. And now, last but not least, we will be going on to our third and final practice problem. And as you guys can see, this is our cylinder example. So for our cylinder, the surface area formula can be written in one of two ways. Up to you guys which one you prefer to use. I prefer this first one, where we factor out the 2 pi r times the sum of r plus h. The other way to write it is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. So they're both the same. You can solve it side by side with me if you like, but I will be using that top formula. Now that we have our formulas written, we'll go through and write out what our radius and our height are. Our radius for this cylinder is 10 centimeters, and our height is 25 centimeters. So the surface area would be 2 pi times 10 times r plus h would be 10 plus 25 for this example. So for these, most of the time your teacher will allow you to use calculators. If for whatever reason your teacher doesn't, please let me know in the comments and I can go through and solve this out in terms of pi. But this step, 20 pi times 35, we would then plug into our calculator. When I approximate pi to being 3.14, the answer you would get here is 2,198. Our units are centimeters, so our answer would be 2,198 centimeters squared. And that wraps up our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson, the introduction to surface area. Please let me know if there's any other video topics or if you have any questions on this video down below. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Share this video with a friend. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.